I feel like everybody has that primal connection to the ground. Everybody has that connection to the woods.
I absolutely feel like the aspect of family bonding can be lost a lot nowadays. When you go to dinner with your family out in public and you see a whole other family, everybody just sitting there texting.
Whenever they drop down in those decoys and you know that there was an interaction all the way from the top, they were hundreds of yards above you, and they come all the way down from up there and get in front of your face, it hooked me right there.
We talked about a lot of life stuff in a deer stand or a duck blind. I wouldn't be the man I am today without being in the outdoors.
Get 'em.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Ducks Unlimited's work conserving the next 15 million acres of wetlands habitat never stops, and that includes inspiring the next generation to carry the torch. In this episode, DU celebrates some of the best and brightest who are the future of wetlands conservation.
Hi, and welcome to Ducks Unlimited TV. I'm Ashley Horvitz. It's hard to believe another original episode season of DUTV has come and gone. This year was full of challenges, from less than ideal weather conditions to dodging a global pandemic. We closed out this year with telling the story of the Lang brothers in Mississippi. Their incredible wetlands conservation spirit is what the DU Varsity program is all about. All coming up next on DUTV. So we are in the beautiful Mississippi Delta, not far actually from where my grandfather grew up and was born and raised. Hunting in this part of the state is always such a nostalgic thing for me. It's always so wonderful to be back and be here. I grew up hunting here.
So I had a phenomenal time getting to know Jake and Ford Lang on this trip, and it's pretty awesome to see them work in unison, even though their personalities are pretty much polar opposite.
So getting to know them has been interesting to see, kind of what they bring to the table as far as their strong suits of, running this chapter in this event.
Ford really started to love duck hunting. I mean, he really started, and he started to get really good at it. I mean, he kind of understood it at an early age, and it's something you want to encourage your kids certainly to do things that they enjoy and are good at, and that was just one of those things naturally for him. For Jake, it was a little different. Jake is more of a deer hunter. Now he has a different skill set. He's more gregarious. He's more organizational. He's more of a risk taker, and so he'll ask anybody for anything, and he's got a lot of personality.
So I try to get some of his things he does well. Like, he communicates really concise. Like, what he says, he means. I like to think I'm a little more serious and can get things done a little bit better, but when we put the two of us together, it kind of makes it all come to one. He can get the people, he can get the names, and I can, run it and make it, as smooth as I think I can.
It's awesome to learn from him. He's a great example, great role model, great figure in my life, so it's really awesome to kind of follow in his footsteps in that sense.
It means a lot to set an example. That's always kind of been who I wanted to be. I always wanted to be kind of a leader by example. Obviously, I'm not the most talkative person in the world.
It's a great role model to look up to, and it was also pretty fun competing with him.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he had his senior year, I said I was going to do better than he did.
On your scholarship?
So, scholarship.
Raising money.
The number of money raised, the efficiency rating, everything.
So competition really drives you.
I don't like to lose.
that's kind of the competitive drive, you know, two brothers will have. And I kind of took that up to another level. And in the second year, me and Colonel Merrill made it a point that we wanted to hit that $10,000 mark. And so that required a lot of work on both of our ends, really, to go out and find people, one, to be on the committee, and two, to offer sponsorships and donations. And then obviously, the year after I left, Jake and his class just blew it off the roof.
And we raised $29,500. So we may or may not have won about the water. And then we got it, so we did get a $10,000 donation from C Spire, but we still would have beaten them by over $9,000.
Yeah.
Just to see the product of putting in the time and leading by example and going out and reaching out to those people in advance of him, just to make it a little easier for him is great.
Ducks Unlimited Television is presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting. Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Habitat, the official camo of Ducks Unlimited. Browning Firearms, the best there is. Native Nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife. Higdon Outdoors, quality, customer service, innovation, that's Higdon. Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist. And Ducks Unlimited celebrates 15 million acres conserved.
Conservation to me is every outdoorsman's responsibility.
It always is a joy for me as the father of a son to come out and hunt with a father and son group and see a young man learning lessons about the outdoors.
Developing him into a young conservationist, a young hunter, and just a young man.
I think that along the way, you know, in the process of duck hunting, there are common sense lessons that get learned, whether you have a campfire and you learn how to carefully split wood, whether you learn how to open a cattle gate. Young men get out of the car and realize that there's a whole group of adults watching them and they get stage fright just taking the chain off a swing gate. But those are just lessons. That's part of growing up.
Being out there, I learn a lot. It's a lot about just being out there. I mean, quality time is something that right now is kind of rare.
Part of the contract that we sign as parents with our children is to be able to teach them common sense lessons.
Because everybody has jobs and we have school.
I know how it is, folks. Look, I've had, you know, kids of my own. The school pressure is greater than ever. I know that during the COVID crisis, the schedules are screwed up. You know, mom and dad may be working from home and the kids may be homeschooling. But it's so important to carve out a Saturday morning or carve out a Sunday afternoon or carve out an evening and get these kids outdoors.
Coming right back at us.
Even though when you come up in this neck of the woods, you know, in and around Crooked River, you don't have necessarily the habitat here.
Nobody move.
You know, meeting Chris, meeting his son Jacob, and seeing what they're doing in this part of the world, they've found other ways to involve themselves in conservation that aren't necessarily on a grander scale like you see at a WMA like Summer Lake.
One of the things that we've done here locally is we've started creating opportunities for youth to get out and do some mallard nesting, 2 projects that we've got on our local rivers. My son's been heavily involved with that. But overall, we're getting this engagement with our youth of our community that we really feel is going to be the next generation of Ducks Unlimited volunteers.
I just find that really fascinating that we can just build that out of just volunteers. Just higher off the ground so it stays away from predators.
Yeah. And I've heard you had people that weren't even involved in DU show up to help, which I thought was amazing. Like just people, you know, basically off the street.
Yeah.
That heard you were doing nesting tubes and showed up to help. That's, I mean, you know, the definition of community, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
People see that they're going to put nest tubes up in the old mill district and they, you know, read it on Facebook or they see it on Instagram and they come out and help.
I think at the end it gives you this great feeling of you accomplished something that's not for your own benefit.
It's never a bad thing when fathers and sons spend time together, but it's even better when they do it in the outdoors.
Just 100 short years ago, many of North America's wildlife species were endangered or on the brink of extinction. Population growth, market hunting, wetlands drainage for agriculture, all were sending some species spiraling toward being lost forever. It was hunters who stepped forward demanding change. In 1934, the first federal duck stamp provided funding and support for wetlands conservation in the midst of the Dust Bowl era. In 1937, the Federal Aid and Wildlife Restoration Act, more commonly known as the Pittman-Robertson Act, allocated excise taxes gained on firearms and ammunition sales to states for their wildlife conservation programs. These taxes still fund conservation programs today, providing benefits for hunters and everyone who enjoy the outdoor lifestyle. Ducks Unlimited relies on hunters, anglers, and other committed conservationists to promote wetlands and waterfowl conservation through our events held across the country. The 15 million acres that DU has conserved over our past 84 years and the next 15 million are a direct result of the sporting community rising to meet the wildlife and especially waterfowl habitat challenges head on. On behalf of our members, our volunteers and staff here at Ducks Unlimited, Ducks Unlimited Canada, and Ducks Unlimited de Mexico, thank you for supporting wetlands and wildlife conservation.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com.
I was thinking about this the other day, like when I grow up, like I want my kids to be involved in conservation. It's kind of scary, like there could be a whole generation of people who don't hunt, and don't fish, and don't do anything. I want my kids to have the same experience as I have. I think it's made me a better human.
That's awesome. You know, I think the same thing too. I mean, I feel like it just gives you deeper appreciation for life and like taking in the little moments and just the respect aspect of even game, you know.
I mean, for the future of hunting, we have to generate support from the next generation of hunters, but also non-hunting voters, taxpayers, and citizens who influence where our conservation dollars are spent, what the policies are on those public lands, what the attitudes are about firearms. And DU's commitment has really been to identify high schools and colleges to set up our chapters so that there's that peer-to-peer network. So it's one 17-year-old to another. It's one junior in college to the freshman in college.
Success breeds success. And we started to see an increase in not just chapters, but dollars raised. We started to see an increase in parental involvement. We started to see an increase in community involvement.
Well, today we have a cookout going on, and this is what we do to recruit members into our chapters. We cook out here on the main area of campus, and everybody comes up, gets something to eat, and we tell them about our cause.
The first way I heard about the DU scholarship was from Colonel Merrill and Hunter Pridgeon, and that was actually a tool that Colonel Merrill used to help us get people on the committee.
So in 2017, Ducks Unlimited launched this national scholarship program. And since then, it's awarded 183 scholarships, totaling more than $135,000.
I mean, it really taught me how to just, be patient. You can't just BS paper and hope to get $500 or whatever. I had to get all my recommendations. I had to ask, I had to write letters, say thank you for writing a rec. I write for school, but I don't write just all the time. It kind of really challenged me to think about what I really love and put that into words.
It was a way for Ducks Unlimited to invest into these young men and women for the time and effort that they've invested back into the organization.
When I first got the call about being granted the scholarship, I was kind of relieved because it took, it's obviously not you submit it and get a call back 5 minutes later. It took a while for it to kind of process through. It was just gratifying to see that reward for putting all in that work that we did at the banquet.
Coming from your left, here you go, right here, shoot him. Shoot him.
My dad and my grandfather would be smiling right now to see what is happening here today, and I just thought the hunt was, on a scale of 1 to 10, was a 10.
Browning has a new waterfowl gun for 2021. We're looking at the new Maxus 2, which replaces the original Maxus, and there was nothing wrong with the Maxus. The Maxus is a great gun. It's a soft shooting semi-automatic gas gun, but what they have done with the Maxus 2 is take that gun and just make it a little more user-friendly, a little easier to tailor and fit to yourself. And the result is the Maxus 2. And the changes start back here at the butt with these spacers, which let you alter the stock fit. The next change you see is this cone pad. The gun's already a soft shooting gun, but this very soft pad reduces felt recoil even more. Forend and the stock both have these rubber inserts, these molded inserts here that make the gun easier to hold on to if it's cold or wet. Another change that a lot of people will like, these extended bolt handles now, and this is standard on all the Maxus guns, not just the Wicked Wing guns. And with that, there's also an enlarged bolt closer button that makes it easier to close the bolt on a live round. The trigger guard's been redesigned this year. It's kind of a design borrowed from the 3-gun shooters. It's got a ramp, so it makes it easier to load the gun, and it goes right into works perfectly with the Browning speed load feature, which you thumb a shell into the magazine and it automatically whisks up into the port and loads the gun. The biggest change, or the most noticeable change right away with the Maxus 2 is something that the Maxus didn't have, which is a magazine cap. The original had a very innovative latch, which is something you've never seen on a semi-auto before, and it gave the gun trim lines, but it also meant that you could not add a magazine extension if you wanted to take the gun snow goose hunting. You couldn't add weights if you wanted to shoot it for sporting clays. But now with this magazine cap, you can do all those things. It just makes the gun that much more versatile, makes the Maxus 2 that much better.
Ducks Unlimited's Guns and Gear is brought to you by Tetra Hearing, built for hunters by hunters. Calls, wings, or triggers, hear the hunt like never before. DUTV is powered by Zinc Calls, a champion in every call. Browning Ammunition, the best there is. Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs. Tetra Hearing, more than hearing protection, it's hearing perfection. Closed captioning for Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Mossy Oak Bottomland, the official timber pattern of Ducks Unlimited.
Hi, I'm Fred Zink with Zink Calls. I want to talk to you about cleaning your duck call. Now, we just got in for the morning hunt, and a duck call, because it's got a long reed and a tone channel, a lot of times will pick up debris, whether it be dirt, dust, sand, dog hair, saliva, chew, what have you. If you're not proficient at taking your duck call apart, don't know much about it, your best friend is the sink. You simply pull your reed away from the tone channel slightly, and just place it under tap water and run it back and forth. Pop that reed a little bit, and you should be ready to go. Now, if you are very comfortable with taking your duck call apart, especially a J-frame Arkansas style, there's really no tuning. The best way to do it is you don't want to bend your reed. You put your finger and your thumb on it, and you see how I slide the reed sideways. I'm not trying to pull up. Slide it out, remove the cork, place that there, and then I would run under the water. But then I like to take my reed and wipe it off with my hand. And I do this a lot of times in the duck blind. Turn the reed sideways and I place it on the tone channel, flat on the tone channel. And I just run it back and forth. A lot of times you'll feel sand, dirt, debris on it. You just go back and forth until you get nice and clean. Wipe your reed off again. Make sure the reed is curved a certain way. Okay. Push the reed in position so the curve is up. Replace your cork, make sure it's tight against, pop it a couple times and you're ready to go. Hope that helps. For more information on Zink Calls, check us out online at zinkcalls.com.
Duck Talk with Fred Zink is powered by Zinc Calls, a champion in every call.
Can you go in there like bust up a casserole, or
No chance. Jake, can you make a casserole?
Perhaps.
Austin, bring your own snacks.
Have my boy here.
Have that one. That's the only other one I brought.
I think the DU varsity program really has set me up for success in the future. I mean, it shows you how to be hands-on with a group of people for a cause you really care about.
get to learn how to ask people other than their parents for money.
We're all older fellas, it's coming. And it's important for me to get my own children out. It's important that I get my neighbor kids out.
If the next generation doesn't understand what it takes to preserve this and work with the scientists that are bringing different knowledge and different types of techniques to habitat conservation, this isn't going to be around.
I mean, at first I thought it was like, oh, I'm a duck hunter, so I can be in Ducks Unlimited, but it's really, I'm in Ducks Unlimited, so I can duck hunt. And it just makes you appreciate a little more what you're raising money for and putting the time for a banquet in for.
Right. It's been really positive for me to see what these young men and women get out of it in terms of leadership skills, communication skills. They're essentially running their own business. And when I go to events across the country, I'm amazed by their confidence to get up in front of a room full of people and run the entire event from start to finish.
Thanks to everyone who made this season of Ducks Unlimited TV one to remember. And a special thanks to Philip and Audra Bowman for hosting this hunt. We had a great time and we are already planning the next series of original episodes at exciting locations around North America. Remember to watch classic episodes and bonus footage anytime at ducks.org. For all the DU volunteers, staff members, and show partners, thanks for watching and see you again soon on DUTV. What y'all doing over there in my bag? No. I only brought 2 snacks, not you, Austin. I only brought 2 snacks. No, no, there was a whole snack train that you could have grabbed from. I even almost said, I'm not sharing my snacks today. Can't get good health anymore, and that's the truth.